Namaskaram friends, this is Dr. Rajivan. I am here again to discuss with you about the second part of yoga philosophy. In the first part, we have already discussed what is yoga, how many parts of yoga are there. So, this part we are going to discuss what is Ashtanga yoga. So, if you have liked the previous video and also after watching this video, if you like it, please subscribe it. Don't forget, because whenever we upload a new video, the notification will come to you. That is very important. So let us see, in this video we will discuss about what is Ashtanga yoga. You already know that yoga means union between your individual self with the supreme self, which is there everywhere, what we call as God. So that is what yoga means. And yoga is also an effort to dissolve your personality or dissolve your individual boundary and you become a universal identity, a universal self. That is the whole idea of practicing yoga. There are four parts of yoga we already discussed: karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, and ashtanga yoga. Here we are going to discuss about what is ashtanga yoga, the fourth path of yoga. So ashtanga yoga means the yoga of 8 steps. So ashta means 8, anga means limbs. So yoga of 8 limbs. Similarly, we have 8 limbs on our body: our hands, our legs, and all the parts of our body. We have 8 limbs in our body. So when we do Ashtanga Namaskara and all, we surrender these 8 limbs. Similarly, we have 8 steps in this path of yoga. So what are these 8 steps? The first one is yama, second one is niyama, third one is asana or yogasana, fourth one is pranayama, fifth one is pratyahara, and sixth one is dharana, and seventh one is dhyana or meditation, and eighth one is samadhi or blissful state. So this is what it means, 8 steps of Ashtanga yoga. So when we talk about first step, the first step is yama. What is yama? Yama means social disciplines. So any person who comes to the path of yoga, he has to start with the first step. And if he progresses slowly, his level will be elevated to the higher states of yoga, higher steps of yoga automatically. That means if his practice is good in yama and niyama, he will go to asana. If his practice is good in asana, he can be elevated to pranayama. If he is good in pranayama, he can be very good, good in dharana, and he can become a meditator. And if his meditation is very good, he can get samadhi or blissful state. So a person reaches samadhi or the state of moksha or liberation or self-realization only by practicing all these other 7 steps systematically. So that is what it means. Understood? So yama means social disciplines. So when you live in this society, we need to follow certain social disciplines. Otherwise, your life outward and your life inward will not be peaceful. If you are living in a society, you have to respect other people, you have to follow the certain rules and regulations, so that your mind will be peaceful, your life will be peaceful, etc. So what are the social disciplines, or what are the principles of yama? The first one, we call it as ahimsa or non-violence. The second one, we call it as satya or truthfulness. The third one, we call it as asteya or non-stealing or non-theft. Fourth one is brahmacharya or celibacy. Fifth one is aparigraha or non-possession. So these are the 5 principles of yama. We will discuss in detail about this in the next video. Now we will go to the second part of Ashtanga Yoga, the second step of Ashtanga Yoga. So the second step is called Niyama. Niyama means self-disciplines. So when you want to live a life of yoga, yogic life, not only yogic life, if you simply live in this surface of the earth, you need to follow certain self-disciplines. Otherwise, you cannot progress in life. Otherwise, you will fall into diseases like depression, anxiety. All these sufferings are there in the world because people are not following certain self-disciplines. So these self-disciplines are very important to make your life very healthy, progressive, and systematic. So what are these niyamas or self-disciplines? The first one is called shaucha. Shaucha means cleanliness. Cleanliness in physical level, cleanliness in mental level. So, and cleanliness in spiritual level. And second one is santosha. Santosha means happy. One should be very happy. He cannot be gloomy, he cannot be depressed, he cannot be anxious. He has to be very happy and joyful. If you are a yoga teacher or a yoga student or a yoga aspirant or even just a simple man, he should be happy if you want to live a beautiful life. Then shaucha, santosha. Then third one is tabas. Tabas means hard effort. Whatever you want to study or whatever you want to achieve, you have to take a little effort, hard effort. Otherwise, you cannot achieve anything in this life. So even if you want to make a good day, you have to get up, you have to take bath, you have to brush up your teeth. All these things are little effort is there in the beginning. So this effort is should be taken for yoga path also. To become a yogi or a self-realized being, you need to take certain hard work, hard effort. Practicing yoga, even if you like it or not like it, you have to progress. You have to push forward your practice. If certain days it is difficult to go beyond or forward. So that is third one. So shaucha, santosha, tapas. Fourth one is swadhyaya, self-study. So self-study is important. You need to study about yoga principles, about your own life, about your own physical body, how you are doing asanas, how you are breathing, how to breathe properly. If it is not correct, you have to correct it. So all this thing. And also study from the scriptures. After reading the scriptures, you have to digest this in your intelligence and make it your own thing. So that is self-study. So you have to take effort to study self. Then the fifth one is called Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara Pranidhana means surrender to God. Whatever you do in this life, you have to surrender to the God so that everything will be very successful. Until and unless you surrender something or everything to the ultimate power of this universe, the creator, nothing will come to help you, nothing will become successful in your life. So you have to be very life sensitive, you have to be very in a devotional attitude, and you will be in a surrender mode to keep your life going and get achievement of self-realization or moksha or liberation. So these are the principles of niyama. So yama is over, niyama is over. Now third one is yogasana, or simply Patanjali says asana. Asana means yogasana. Whatever in this modern world, especially the Western world, what they think yoga means, this is, they're thinking about only yogasana. They think yoga means yogasana. That is not true actually. So this is because of the yoga which went from India to West, it bounced back to India. Now in India also everyone is doing yogasana as yoga. But yoga means it is an inclusion of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, dhyana, and other important things. So the third one is yogasana, stiram sukham asanam. So asana means physical postures. We have to do certain physical postures like raising your hands and standing on your one foot and making vrikshasana and all. So all these efforts you are doing just to control your body through your mind. So you are using your mind to control the body so that the mind will be controlled in a indirect way through your body. That is what here I am trying to achieve here. So this is about yogasana. So yogasana means physical posture. Then next is pranayama. So what is meant by pranayama? Prana means the life force or the life energy. Ayama means extension. So pranayama means the extension of our life force. So in ordinary way, when we breathe like this, isn't it? So if you breathe in this normal way, it will not be useful to go to the higher levels of yoga. So for that, what is required is we have to extend our prana in such a way that it can almost stop our thought process and make the mind still, so that we can enter into higher states of meditation. So pranayama is the control of breath in inhalation and exhalation, and also holding it inside or outside. So pranayama is a breathing technique in yoga which can be used as a mechanism to almost stop our mind, because our mind and our breath is always related. When the breath moves, the mind moves. When the breath stops, the mind stops. So in this way, we can reduce the speed of the mind by reducing the speed of the breathing. Or pranayama can help you to control your mind or thought process. So that is the main idea of doing pranayama. So by doing pranayama, one can travel from the body to the self. So it is a pranayama is like a boat in which you can travel from the body consciousness to the self consciousness. So it will take you towards the self if you practice regularly. So there are many types of pranayama. We will discuss in the pranayama another video session. Then next will come pratyahara, is the process which is done after pranayama. So what is pratyahara? Pratyahara means control of senses. You know that we have 5 senses, panchendriyas. Which are panchendriyas? Our eyes, which is doing sight, our nose, which is doing the duty of smelling, etc., and our ears hearing, and our tongue tasting, and our skin for sensation. So these are the 5 panchendriyas. So these panchendriyas or 5 senses are enough only for survival. Understand? So only for survival it is enough. But for knowing the self, this is not at all sufficient, incapable. So we have to use a method which can go beyond these senses. So we have to control our senses, because senses are always outward bound, always going out. We look at it, we taste it, we smell it, we hear it. All these things are taking, all these objects are taking these senses outward. So what is the way? Using the mind, we have to hold these senses and take inward, and so that mind can be taken inward and focusing on the self. So self-realization is possible only by that way of controlling the senses. So this Pratyahara will help you to control your senses and thereby withdrawing the senses towards you and taking the mind inward. So this is the way how we can take our mind inward. Understand? So basically Pratyahara, several techniques are there to practice Pratyahara. We will discuss those things in another video. The next comes Dharana. So Dharana is a transition state between pranayama and or Pratyahara and meditation, and especially between the process of pranayama and meditation, Dharana becomes a transitional zone. So by practicing Dharana, so Dharana means basically concentration. What type of concentration? Concentration with a distraction. So in Dharana, we are concentrating. At the same time, we can have distractions. We can have other thoughts also. That happens in Dharana. So that's why it is a pre-meditative state, not actual meditation state. So in this Dharana, we are actually doing the processes like chanting Guru's name, chanting God's name, chanting a mantra like Om, Omkara chanting, or chanting Om Namah Shivaya. All these mantras can help you. Chanting of these mantras regularly, some 10 times, or 54 times, 27 times, or 108 times. So chanting of this mantra for a particular numbers will help you to control our mind in a specific object. So in Dharana, we are chanting the mantras, especially Omkara chanting will help you to take the mind inward, as Patanjali said in Yoga Sutra. So next, after Dharana, once we are able to concentrate in a certain level, the next step we are already, we are automatically elevated to the state of meditation. We will be elevated to the state of meditation. So meditation or dhyanam, actual word is dhyanam. Meditation is just not a very good translation, but you can use it. So in meditation, in dharana we can have distractions, but in meditation, distraction will not happen. So meditation is the process in which we are concentrating on a single object and there is a continuous flow of concentration towards that object, and you and the object only are there, nothing else. You and the object will be there, nothing else is there, no distraction of thoughts, etc. So that is the perfection of concentration or meditation. So in this state, when you and the object is there, you can merge with the object and go to the next level, which is known as samadhi. So samadhi is the final state of yoga or Ashtanga yoga, in which a person loses his individuality, or when he keeps on concentrating on the object in meditation, he forgets himself or he dissolves himself and he dissolves his individuality and he merges with the object. So only object will shine in samadhi or blissful state. So samadhi means blissful state. So in blissful state or in samadhi, only the object will shine. You are not at all there. You are falsified. So in that way, samadhi is the final state of yoga, which is known as self-realization or enlightenment will come in the state where you are not there, only the object will shine. That means only the Supreme Self will be there. You merge with the Supreme Self and forget your individuality. That is the actual definition of yoga. As it is said, you dissolve your individual boundaries and become one with the universal identity. You become universal. You become God. You are Brahma. That is what actually declaring in samadhi. So these are the 8 steps of Ashtanga Yoga. Hope you understood, and we will discuss in the next video what is Yama. Then after that another video we will talk about it, Niyama. Like that, another few videos are waiting. So watch my videos, watch my channel, subscribe my channel, so that another many series of philosophy, yoga philosophy will come to you with the notification. So please subscribe my channel. Thank you very much. Namaskaram. Dhanyawad.